so ashamed of something embedded in my culture and roots for such a long time? Is this where I started to internalize some kind of self-hate towards my identity and being a brown girl? I never recognized my brownness or otherness before this point. My family and I grew up in East London, and like anyone who speaks of their hometown fondly, I would say it was a really special place. When my granddad, Babaji, first came to the UK in the early 1960s, he decided to settle in the East End, moving around from Greenwich to Newham and eventually Ilford. I was born in Barking Hospital, something that my husband always reminds me of every time Ting from Barking comes on the radio. The world that I saw, the world that I knew, felt like Ilford Lane, Southall Broadway, or Soho Road. In that bubble, I went to school with kids from all walks of life. I grew up with brown friends, black friends, white friends, Jamaicans, Somalis, Turkish, Bengali and Punjabi, and all kinds of communities, Jewish, Muslim, Sikh, Hindu, you name it. I had Catholic friends and Sunni and Shia friends. White working class kids ate their packed lunch with brown working class kids. As a brown girl navigating these spaces, I may have faced some social and cultural barriers which we'll come back to shortly, but at least I felt part of the world I knew. Normal, even. This was the London I knew. But somewhere in the time between childhood and adolescence, I began to deny all of the beautiful parts of what make me a brown girl. I looked around for role models to look up to, or for someone who had gone through these struggles before. But other than the women in my family, I couldn't find any heroes. I started to feel a constant sense of erasure when it came to my lived experiences. Brown female voices and experiences were missing from history books, from positions of power, from the boardrooms and on TV screens, except for the infamous Mira Siao and the Goodness Gracious Me team. Maybe that's why I became so obsessed with Princess Jasmine when I was little. I had the doll, the lunchbox, the pajamas, the movie on cassette, the whole shebang. The Middle Eastern representation of her has had scrutiny over the years, and though she wasn't Punjabi, she was my princess. But did getting married and being saved by Aladdin have to be my only aspiration? If anything, I found Aladdin more relatable. You see, there wasn't much to work with as a young brown girl. What made being a young brown girl so difficult was the constant messaging that my heritage, who I was and am, was less desirable, fashionable, or even legitimate than white Western culture. Eventually, I found myself wanting to deny my own heritage because I was told by society that it had no place here. And with that loss of identity came a lack of self-confidence and self-belief, culminating in me almost losing my entire sense of self. I found myself thinking, where and how do I fit in? I wanted to be white, but I kept thinking, what am I up against? Eventually, I had a realization. Do I even need to fit in? Brown women are often seen as docile, quiet, and passive, thanks to the orientalization of Asian women, dehumanized and reduced. More recently, new stereotypes have been added to our list of labels, including bombers or bashful brides. Isn't it about time that we controlled our narrative and our voice so that our representation doesn't just consist of the tropes about victimhood and dowries, degradation and despair? Now, this is not me downplaying violence against women or the much-needed ongoing conversations about